Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts. So Bitcoin got a little bit of a push to the downside and a push back up to the upside. And basically range trading, we were talking about how possibly this June to July hit top of the range trade consolidation could be in store for Bitcoin for some time now, as there is no liquidity to the upside. What do I mean by that? Well, we have to go into high block capital to take a look. What is high block? Well, people lock their liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss. And we get to see where those stop losses are. Let's do it now. Okay, on the 1 minute time frame, went and took out that 119 million down at 34.19 and peeled off of them into 113 million shorts up at 34.781, and then came down into the little pools of 100x 50x longers, meanwhile triggering some shorts to the tune of 128 million down at the bottom here, and now starting to retrace into the shorts. So it's just a seek and destroy of any liquidity that enters at whatever point of fatigue at support or resistance on the opposite side. So consolidation, in other words, consolidation. So let's go to the higher time frame pools and take a look. Let's go say what's up to anyone in the chat while that loads. Hey, what's up? We got two people here. CNC, what's going on? What's going on? Let's go ahead and take a look at the 7-day. So the 7-day does have this reclamation of the wick possibility to the left, where we can come up to that 35,350 region and take about $10 billion out. Beyond that point, still inducing more. If we stretch our vision to the hour, the monthly, you can see this more clearly. You have 8.4 billion at 35.3. This also happens to coincide with this little top range zone and the wick that we came up into. So they're inducing on both sides, but it looks like there's more shorts starting to percolate just above the 35.4 region. Down below, you have a thick band of about 25 billion down at 33.1 down to 32.8 that they could come down into. And of course, down below, you have a large draw to the downside. Imbalances to the downside on the monthly. On the 3-month, 3-month has yet to form these pools, but showing you that 10 billion up at 35.4, 30 billion or so down at that 32.8, and down below, much more draw to the downside. Coming to the 6-month. The 6-month has a little bit of a pool just above the wick over here at 36.3, 55 billion. Hasn't really changed since we've gone sideways. So not much more above that, double digits, but still not much more. The larger draw is to Bart Simpson all the way back down, to be honest. If we go to the 2-year, 2-year has that 133 billion at 36.4. Do they clear the range and then drop it, or do they drop it from here? The last time they left some stuff on the table, it was in that $100 billion mark, the protected position mark, and they did that again here. And they did that again here. So they don't always clear the range of liquidity before they decide to shift out. 24 billion at 35.2 on the 2-year that we could come back into. Let's go back to the monthly and take a look at the charts. The 8 billion at 35.3. So for the Asian session, we talked about it possibly hitting this range up here and then coming back down again. Did not hit the pool down below, but it did start to shift back up into this consolidation point. It closed out. We also talked about it closing out the week strong, which it did. So let's go ahead and see what the momentum has to offer, shall we? Heads up display is on. Link in the description for more. There is a sale on funding accounts, by the way, if you're interested. That 90% off is in the description, as well as the ATOS platform. This is Bitcoin at its local bottom, at the current bottom at 15K, before we knew it was a bottom. Things to look at: the trend cloud, the baselines, and the stochastic array. Read about them at your leisure. All right, so you would have been getting these dynamic alerts to your phone telling you when these time frames are fatigued, 4 time frames oversold. And let's go ahead and start on the daily, do our daily diligence. So we're going to take this off. It's in the past, time to move forward and take a look. Okay, so let's take a look at the 3-day. The 3-day closes in basically an hour and 4 minutes. So we're going to have the 3-day candle close, which is essentially indecision right now. We had the gravestone doji before. Do we have a continuation up to that adaptive on the 3-day? The last time we did get a draw up to the adaptive, we did drop on March 26, 2022. So we did go up to it and reject. Is this one of those times as well? Something to think about. We are overbought on the 3-day. The Williams is coming up. The average could still drift here, similar to July, where the average came up to it, and it took us a good solid month before we dropped. And going to the daily already in that range where it would flash a alarm for it to potentially drop down. Have yet to cross down on the baselines. What do I mean by that? Well, if you come over here, you can see these baselines above the price, insinuating a fatigue point. Now, when these start to cross above the price action, then that's when you could start to see this retracement idea ensue. We still have about 10% to give back before the bullish super trend on the daily is given back. And if we take a look on the 22-hour time frame, let's go ahead and take a look at that. 22 still meandering its way back down to a reset. The Williams still holding at the overbought status, but that could change at a moment's notice as the baselines are crossed down and above the price action. Even if you get a spike up, it could be short-lived. It could be an extended M into a dump. I don't expect it to be easy for the shorts, so the extended M in bullish scenarios seems to be the case. I'll show you an example of what I mean. So these extended M's are basically what occur in these bullish conditions before they reverse it. They want the least amount of shorts to pay before they go down. So the simple M or the short formed M, not very common in the bullish scenario. I would say more of an extended M if we were going to go down. So coming up into these regions and then rejecting would make more sense if it was a true reversal. But we're just looking at consolidation because most likely it's going to go sideways for some time, inducing more liquidity. 12 hour getting suppressed here. The KD line's looking to cross down for that suppression because of the higher time frame. The money flow coming beneath the RSI here. The MACD already crossed, and you could be coming down some more. Williams could come and suppress that takeoff of the stochastic RSI. 6 hour ambiguously holding the zone. One thing to note is the money flow beneath the RSI suggesting it wants to get a burst up. So we could be getting a burst up on the 6 hour for a short-lived upside play. Perhaps. 4 hour. 4 hour also ambiguously holding the line at the cloud. Take a look at this. So it is holding the cloud here since yesterday. So this is interesting to note. As long as you are the cloud, as long as the cloud and the super trend and the baselines are on your side, you have the momentum master trinity to the upside in effect. So we could be going up here from this cloud all the way to these regions and then back down. Where do we go from there? I'm not going to say, but that looks like it could be a range up at that 35,412. We already marked off those liquidity zones if this baseline holds. So this could be a little bit of a play for a 2.79 gain. We'll see. Let's go down the time frames as we go. Hourly cloud starting to reclaim here. The super trend has been holding since this sweep on Sunday. Yesterday we were talking about the downside, but it held the baseline. This would have been your clue. Not one, but starting 2 hours of baseline of holding this super trend. We had this other aftermarket dump, and now we're holding that super trend again. Hourly starting to come up here, possibly if we go to the 15. 15-minute baseline cross is in effect here. Baselines holding. Last baseline support and cloud here on the 15-minute. Getting kind of a purple resistance level. Have not broken the super trend just yet. So you'd have to be starting to have this narrative shift on the 15. Okay, so you could retrace down into these pockets first and see if there is an order block underway. Looks like it reclaimed a fair value gap over here. That's what this little rejection point was. So are we going to see more upside from this point? Let's go ahead and go into the 5-minute surgical. Getting surgical with it. So the surgical nature is it's holding the cloud, holding the cloud, holding the cloud, and this is why these clouds are interesting, because they are back testable points in time that are fractal in nature that become these draw order block zones. So far we're holding that super trend to the upside. Do we continue on that merry path up to these levels on the hourly and the 4 hour? Got that rejection off that fair value gap. Let's go back and take a look at the pools one more time. There is a draw up to 34,778 of that $128 million. And this entire range is thicker up here to that 35,460 region. That's why we have that 35,412. This kind of range is stacked with some short liquidity that they could come back into. I would not be surprised if the shorts get another banger to the upside. So we'll leave it at that for now. Let's just put it on the back burner real quick and take a look at some gold real quick. Store of value. As the wars kick off and tensions rise globally, you're getting more store of value. People dumping into gold and Bitcoin, store of value. Indices taking a hit. Yesterday was a barcode session for Seek and Destroy session for New York, and they just whacked both sides. If anyone was profitable, congrats to you. I did not play that. And yeah, if you go to the DXY still taking a bit of a tumble here. Did not reach into that draw zone just yet. Coming back into a region here. Do you retrace down into some of this goodness before you bounce? Basically just trading between these two ranges. Going sideways ultimately from this top range that we traded back up into, from the rocket ships down here to the nukes, rocket ship to nuke play, and we're just hanging out similar to Bitcoin. So the profit taking on the dollar, maybe they invested the profits into Bitcoin around that time. That's when it started to taper, right around that 12th region. So if we go to the Dixie where it stopped, watch this. The flow of money is interesting. So they took their money out, their profits out on the 12th, right? So the 12th it dropped, and then Bitcoin surged at that point. And so the profit taking on this, they stored it into store of value assets like the gold and the Bitcoin, and same with NASDAQ, as everything was taking a tumble from the 12th up here at the top where we got the nuke, and then started to tumble. So this is kind of interesting. I've been seeing these inverse relationships between the indices and Bitcoin for some time now. So as NASDAQ is dropping, Bitcoin's pumping, and conversely too. It is a store of value asset after all, so Bitcoin going up when the indices are hard to trade does kind of make sense. It used to be S&P caused it to tumble. So yeah, basically seeing this draw to the upside today for perhaps. And if we go to USDT dominance, we were talking about reclaiming a cloud of some sort based off of this curvature. Which cloud was that? It must have been a higher time frame one. The 4 hour. So we got our first rejection off of that bearish retest, possible continuation down. So we were talking about, so at this point you got this rejection off of the cloud. So this could come a little bit lower, similar to what we're looking at for Bitcoin going up. People put their money into the trades, and then we come back above for that stop loss hunt. So sweeping this range here of that sell side, plus putting people into their Bitcoin trades, and then possibly coming up above like that for a V shape. extended W, if you will, extended M in, and here extended W. The curve on the cloud does suggest that you could come back for a V shape, so be very careful. Pay yourselves at all time. And the dominance is dropping actually. Broke the super trend on the 4-hour. So this dominance drop means the alts are taking a rise still, having that alt rally. Seeing Rune, BTT, PLS, RLB, Hex, Atom, these things, Sol having a little bit of a rise here on total 3, while Bitcoin holds the range and staying above the cloud on the 4-hour. All right, so back to where we are with Bitcoin. Wrap it up in a nutshell and bid you adieu. So as it stands right now on the 4-hour, you are holding the cloud. The super trend is in your favor. The baseline also in your favor. You got that Trinity effect going. So can you continue to the upside is what we are looking at for the 4-hour. The 4-hour B is ambiguously holding that 50 region, the money flow and the RSI at a standstill, neck and neck with one another, so they could go either way. The Williams overbought, but still could get a little burst up on that 4-hour time frame. If we go to the hourly cloud is ambiguously holding, as is the super trend. Cross down event is in effect, but at any moment you could cross up the baseline, so watch out for how this candle closes and what it does with the baselines, bringing them up in your favor. If you look at the 15 minute is crossed up and starting to make its journey up above the cloud. This is the angle we're looking at. We'd like to see this purple cloud, which is mighty thick, to start to thin and curve in this angle here for the 15 minute to be valid and get carried by the higher time frames to the target. And that is essentially my story, and I'm sticking to it, folks. So thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire, the accuracy, the precision, all that fun stuff, and we'll catch you on the flip side.